Welcome to a special edition of Inside the Zone Comet Style with Blake Sebring, the team beat writer for the News Sentinel. I'm Glenn Marini, and well, we're talking Comets hockey here on a Wednesday because the Comets' regular season begins on Friday night. They open the ECHL season, their first season in the ECHL against Kalamazoo.
And it's not just the ECHL. It's the supersized ECHL this year.
They've gone McDonald's and supersized it. And that's actually my first question, Blake, because when they made the announcement in mid-May that they were jumping up to the ECHL, we knew it was going to be at least a small step up from the CHL. But because of the lockout going on right now, we're really going to be seeing, you wrote an article about this, we're really going to be seeing another level of hockey here.
Yeah, each team could have 4 or 5 guys at the minimum who could be normally would be in the AHL right now. I mean, so because of the lockout, everything filters down because the NHL teams right before the lockout sent all their good young kids down to the AHL because they want them playing and developing. And so the AHL lost 5 or 6 jobs and they sent them down to the ECHL.
That said, you know, each time that the Comets move up, and they've been doing it quite a bit from the IHL to the CHL, now to the ECHL in the last 5 years, we always say it's going to be younger, it's going to be faster, but it might be a little more sloppy. Do you think that's what we're going to see?
Yeah, I think it could be. And I'll tell you why, because right now every ECHL team, all 23 of them, are out there on their hands and knees begging their AHL affiliates for more defensemen. And the AHL, they don't have them. Nobody has a defenseman right now. That's why there was the rumor started that the Comets were going to be affiliated with Toronto because they were looking for more defensemen. Everybody's looking for more defensemen, and there aren't any, which is another good reason why the Comets training camp was so good, because there were 3 or 4 kids in that camp who were defensemen who had some potential to develop.
And one of those guys is Scott Kishel. He's a guy that has won an NCAA championship. But
does he remind you of Frankie DeAngelis or what?
When he has the goatee, when he does, he kind of has that look. He's a little undersized, I guess you'd say, but a fiery guy.
And he handles the puck just like Frankie. I mean, he's very aggressive with it. And
he should put a couple pucks in the back of the net, can play some offense. So let's talk about the defenseman first, since you mentioned it. Somewhat of an overhaul as far as defensive players go, but Brent Henley sent down, or cut rather, from the AHL camp that he was at. And also a nice addition in Tyler Butler. Yes. Talk about what they get from him, because he played at Arizona, was a captain out there.
Tyler's like the defensive version of Colin Chalk. I mean, he's always talking, he's always helping, he's always letting his partner know this is what's coming at you, so this is what you do with it. And he does that with all the defensemen. He's just a teacher back there as well. And it's really neat to see that, because right now there's 4 rookies that are defensemen on the team, and Tyler's working with them every day.
As far as that goes, how much of a role is he going to have? Because obviously he's a new guy, but how does he pass along that kind of, the knowledge that he has, he's 32, 33, to some of these younger players? Because it's a young roster as far as defensemen go.
Well, the first thing you do is just show them by being the example. And then you can talk to them, and if, you know, you got to kind of let them come to you in some aspects. If they want to learn some things or they have a question about something, they can go to him and ask him, okay, how do you do this, or what would you do in this situation? And you kind of do it that way. But because he's always talking, he's always reinforcing, he's positive, as well as, you know, okay, here's something you could try on that situation next time, that kind of thing. He's always reinforcing, so that is always positive, and the kids will be more likely to go to him.
Jamie Milam no longer with the team. He was a big force offensively on the power play, 20 goals last season. Who's a guy that could replace those goals? Is it going to be Butler? Is it going to be Kishel? Who's somebody that can be that offensive defenseman? Frankie was like that too.
Sure. I think there's a few guys. I think they're going to have to play it out and see how it develops. Kyle Atkins is very, very good with the puck, and he's got a wicked shot too. He put one top corner in one of the scrimmages, and everybody's like, wow, where did that go in? You know, I mean, and Daniel Maggio, I think, is going to take a step up with his game this year. He was much more offensive at the end of the playoffs than he was at the start, and I think that could carry on into this year.
And we saw him get that overtime goal on Sunday, which is certainly big. Big guy, 6'3", former 6th-round draft pick in the NHL draft. Yeah.
You could tell on the ice, it was a lot smaller ice, wasn't it, Sunday? I mean, you could tell the players were bigger and they were faster, and there was a lot less room to operate out there than there was in the CHL per se. I mean, you could see a difference, I felt.
And the beneficiary, perhaps, of some of these defensemen, the talented guys that they've got in, will be the goaltenders. Nick Boucher had a couple of hip surgeries. He's going to be out until at least mid-season. Obviously, we know what he's done in the past, but we also know, to a degree, what Charlie Effinger's done in the past. Because, you know, if he stays healthy throughout the playoffs, we might not be talking about a championship last season for the Comets.
Oh, exactly. Well, And the fact that he almost single-handedly beat him in 7 games. I mean, the funny thing is about that series, he had a better save percentage and a better goals against average than the Comets goalies had, but he faced like 20 more shots or 10 more shots a game, essentially, than the Comets goaltenders did. I mean, that he kept them in that series single-handedly. And plus, he just loves to compete. He's just a real fiery guy. Like Brent Henley said at the end of the playoffs, I'm so glad I never have to play against him again.
And, you know, of course, he's well-spoken and handsome because he's a Miami of Ohio guy.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Ryan.
What kind of hair
Ben
products he
Roethlisberger.
uses?
Yeah. I don't know. He's a sweaty dude, actually, if you saw our interview with him the other day. But Al Sims made a great point about Charlie Effinger, saying that in the past, Comets goaltenders have been smaller guys, little guys, flexible guys. Charlie's a bigger guy.
Frenchie was a big guy. I mean, Frenchie was a big guy. He wasn't he wasn't that flexible, but he always got the job done, and he had great numbers. But Charlie is the same type of goaltender. He's a charge out and challenge you versus letting you challenge him guy.
And Kenny Ryder, also highly regarded, won a championship in college hockey. Of course, he's got some family ties to the Comets.
Found out today he's going to be an uncle soon.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to
that was
him.
cool for Kevin and his wife.
What do you think he brings? Obviously, we haven't seen a whole lot of him yet in Comets camp, but what do you think he's going to bring?
Well, here's a kid who's obviously has pro goalie expectations. He has NHL expectations. He's always had that. He's always a competitor. He's just like his brother, except Kevin told me he handles the puck a little bit better than Kevin did, which is pretty good when you consider Kevin was always out there helping out his defenseman. So Kevin and Kenny have been very close working together, and Kenny's kind of the hybrid goaltender of what they've developed because they're always working on it in the offseason.